What's going on, everyone? Nick Filato with Big Blue View here to break down some more Wink Martindale sacks from the 2021 season as the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. These exotic blitzes, where are they coming from, and how exactly do they manipulate the opposing team's protection package? Let's dive right into it. Let's first start with the sack against Carson Wentz in the Colts against this 2x2 set. We'll really get into the nitty-gritty from the end zone angle. But first, I want to point out how we have a too-high look with this defensive back slightly edged upward and a pressure look to the left side of the formation prior to what we are about to witness. Let's get into it. One reason to bring up that too-high look, as we can see, comes down right on Michael Pittman Jr. there. Young comes on that blitz. One of the telltale signs to something like that is when these defensive backs are stacked. These defensive backs aren't exactly stacked because you can see that Young is slightly outside the hash, and I believe this is Jimmy Smith. He is on the hash, but right at the snap, Smith drops down, and his assignment is Michael Pittman Jr. Carson Wentz has to throw hot here. Carson Wentz does not know the blitz is coming, but it's not a too high look. The other safety rotates, and he goes down. We'll run through that one more time. Look at the movement from this player right here. Jumps up to this side. No one accounts for that backside blitzer who comes in completely unaccounted for. Now, what do we have going on here? So we have the 5 men in the protection package. We have this 2 technique right here, right over the top of Mark Lewinsky. Hello, Mark Lewinsky. How are you doing? Odafe Oweh steps up towards the line of scrimmage right before the snap. Then you have 21 right here also simulating blitz with 54 possibly coming, but he drops into coverage on 81. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 against 1, 2. Center is going to pay attention to this side of the line of scrimmage. And then you have 1, 2 over here. So you have the guard and the tackle who are going to go against the 3 technique and Justin Houston right here. Nobody is going to account for that backside defender that we saw come in before. Let's watch. Just as it was supposed to happen, nobody accounts for Young, 25 right there. And you can see how the protection package from the offense's perspective is going to execute these blocks. Like I said, 54 is going to go with 81. So you have 69 kick out. You have Lewinsky kick out, and then you have the center kick out. Jonathan Taylor just goes right into his route, and what happens? 21, instead of coming, he goes and latches on to Jonathan Taylor to take away that option, and now 69 is left with no one to block. So the protection slid in this direction, but there's only 2 guys who end up coming. Excellent deception from Wink Martindale. Now you have 3 coming against 2. This is what we talk about a lot on Big Blue View. 3 versus 2s and 2 versus 1s. And Wink Martindale does such a damn good job scheming this type of pressure up to manipulate the opposing offense's protection. Just like it happens here. It's a 5-man protection package, and Jonathan Taylor goes into the route, but he gets eliminated by 21. 3 versus 2 here, and then 2 versus 3 in the defensive advantage. Carson Wentz doesn't get rid of the football. Sack Baltimore. Now here's against Aaron Rodgers, a better quarterback, and the Baltimore Ravens. Let's watch. So this is winning to the high side. This is what we say on Big Blue View. When you win high side, this is what I mean. But I love how Wink Martindale occupies 1, 2, 3 blockers here and allows 54 and 50 Justin Houston to get one-on-one matchups against these tackles so they can speed rush up the arc. Watch how he does this. All 3 of those players have to pay attention to these 3. And you have movement, you have the twist, you have 41 slant inside towards the inside shoulder of the center with Odafe Oweh kind of looping around to take and just occupy, I should say, this right guard. But Chris Board's never coming on the blitz. He's just watching Aaron Jones. And then he's going to take Aaron Jones right here. Odafe Oweh ends up running into Aaron Jones. And then you have these 3 blockers right here who are kind of 4 if you include Aaron Jones, who are occupied by these 3 defensive players, but that's not necessarily where the pressure is supposed to come from. Both 54 and 50 are told you need to win high side. You need to win up the pass rushing arc, get through that outside shoulder, and then crash into the pocket, as you can see them both attempt to do. You can see Justin Houston just doing an excellent job right here, just to get into the specifics of what he does. He stabs, kind of uses a long arm initially against this tackle, and then he breaks the contact of that tackle outside arm with a quick swipe. Just a quick double swipe right there. And look at all the separation that creates. Tackles hips, they're going this way. And Justin Houston is already starting to bend around the edge right there. And then on the other side, you could see 54 here. uses stutter step. So it's a little bit different, but he stutters inside, and watch what that does to 73's hips. It goes inward like this. And then 54 just puts that inside foot back into the ground and then engages. They get face to face right here, hand to hand, lowered leverage goes to the defense, and then he just kind of uses a double swipe as well to break the contact, resync himself, and then win that outside shoulder. By that point, Justin Houston has already located Aaron Rodgers, but 54 helps with the sack. Let's check out this sack against the Miami Dolphins. We have a 3-by-1 set, reduced with tight end in there. You also have the wide rusher here, but watch how this twist right here, or stunt if you want to call it that, but it's more of a twist, manipulates what Miami's protection is trying to do. And also watch how Chris Board bails from this location right here into coverage, and how that forces this tackle and this running back to basically not block anybody. Let's see. They just stay put as that backside receiving option ends up blocking that end man on the line of scrimmage, but nobody accounts for the twisting Odafe Owe. Now we'll see here. So pre-snap, Miami is looking at this. They have the nose right here. So the center will take the nose, and then you have two potential rushers right here with Bowser and Owe. So you have a guard, you have a tackle. Everybody's accounted for on this side. And the alignment of these defensive players is always important on every snap. It's not like these defensive players are just saying, you know what, I'll align as a 5 technique here. No, it's very specific to the construct of what Wink Martindale wants to do. And every defensive coordinator is like that, because you have the nose here, and then you have what this guard's responsibility will be in Odafe Owe as basically a 5 technique, and then the tackle is going to have to block Tyus Bowser, number 54, so the guard is going to stress and have to kick out over here to match Odafe Owe, and the tackle is going to have to kick out wide to match Tyus Bowser, and that creates a lot of space to cover for the guard and the tackle, and then more space, you're going to need more range, and it just opens you up to more mistakes. But over here, you have Chuck Clark. He could come. You have Justin Houston. He's more than likely going to come in. You have Chris Board who can come. So that's going to occupy the guard. It's going to occupy the tackle. And Miami decided to also keep this backside receiving option in the protection package with Patrick Laird also. So you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-man protection. And the Ravens are still able to get a sack here. Let's see how. Owe twists in there. Now that guard does a good job realizing that Chris Board bails. You can see he opens up towards Board. His eyes are directly on Board. Board bails. So what does he do? He goes right after Calais Campbell. And Calais Campbell is the main asset in this play. Owe is going to twist around, but Calais Campbell's job right here, and you can tell by his path, is to go right up and shade the inside shoulder of this guard. Now you can see he doesn't try to bull rush, doesn't try to use power. He is positioning himself in a manner to set up the looping Odafe Owe. So you can see how he runs in this direction. Now he has the center, and he's using his power right now to get through the center, and he's trying to get hip to hip to this guard to allow Owe to loop around. But what this guard on the backside ends up doing is he ends up hitting Campbell right into that. So now you got 1, 2, 3 blockers on Calais Campbell, because this guard to the front side can no longer block Owe as he just loops right under and gets the sack here. You also have the one-on-one matchup outside with Tyus Bowser and 74. He wins around the edge. And then what do you have over here? 1, 2, 3 blockers against Justin Houston. Wasted blockers here for the offense. And this is something that we see consistently, because this guard panicked. He saw Chris Board bail, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go look for help. Chuck Clark bailed into coverage, so let's go look for help. We're going to go nail Calais Campbell. And that just does not help the situation whatsoever, because he's in no position to pick up this looper. He was a little bit over-aggressive there. But there's wasted blockers, and a 4-man pressure package ends up getting home right here with basically 2 guys to sack Jacoby Brissett. Another good play by Wink Martindale. Cleveland Browns run a screen on this play, and the Ravens bring a blitz. And if you ever want to successfully run a screen, run it when the defense is bringing a blitz. But Cleveland cannot get this screen off. But let's just look at the alignment right here of the Baltimore Ravens. You have the nose, you have the wide rusher in Owe, you have Chris Board right there in the A gap, just on that inside shoulder of 75, and then you have this other player, I believe that's Chuck Clark, right over the top of 71, so essentially a 4 technique with another wide rusher over here. And then you have other defenders who are also going to come in the pressure right here. This guy looks like he might be man covering on Austin Hooper, but what is Marlon Humphrey doing here? We will see. He might be taking Austin Hooper when this defender comes on the blitz. Let's watch. And that's exactly what happens. You can see how they're trying to set the screen up, but it just doesn't come to fruition. Now, this is a little bit different of a play than what we've seen earlier. Let's get back to it. It's a slow rewind, and Baker Mayfield's fumble definitely doesn't help. But we'll see what ends up happening, and this is a really heady play right here from this player. As 92 comes up, and you can see Kareem Hunt act like he's going in the protection, but it's recognized. You can see how this defensive player kind of sets a pick right there with Treader, and Kareem Hunt can never get out into space here. And there was an overload to this side with 3 against 1. Now, of course, the offensive line is going to slide in this direction because that's the direction of the screen. It's not necessarily a breakdown in protection. But I still wanted to show this play because it's a way where you can run a screen pass against a blitz and still not have success, albeit if Baker Mayfield doesn't get Butterfingers here, maybe it is a little bit better for the Cleveland Browns. Fumble recovered by Baltimore. On this sack against the Denver Broncos, we are going to have a 5-man pressure package with 2 twists, and then Odafe Oweh tasked to win high side with Tyus Bowser dropping back into coverage, and you can also see how that's going to create some confusion on this side of the line of scrimmage. Let's watch it first, and then we'll break it down. Big sack for Oweh right there. Knocks Teddy Bridgewater's helmet off. But let's see what happens here, okay? So we're going to see Patrick Queen. He is aligned in the B gap right here. It looks like everybody is accounted for. You have to account for Tyus Bowser, who will be dropping into coverage on this play. We'll break that down in a second. But watch what happens here. Because we're going to have the 2 penetrators. You're going to have Chris Board come and try to set a pick for Calais Campbell. And then you're going to have Patrick Queen come and try and take out the inside shoulder of 72 to open up the looping player right here. And I think it's also interesting to note that both the loopers are going towards this B gap right here, with the penetrators going in opposite directions. So in the Ravens' mind, they're trying to take advantage of that B gap and create confusion amongst these 3 offensive linemen. Let's watch. And Oweh gets a sack winning high side. Why did that happen? I love the design. I love the alignment of this play. 72 has no idea that Patrick Queen is coming, but the running back stays in a 6-man protection right there. Technically 7-man protection because you also have the tight end chipping and helping here. So you have a lot of protection right here for the Denver Broncos. And the twists both get picked up pretty solidly. But what happens on this side of the line of scrimmage is interesting because number 70 has to account for 54. And that means this guard right here has to account for Odafe Oweh. That is a lot of space to cover. So at the snap, you can see eyes on Oweh. This tackle quickly diagnoses. You can see his eyes shoot out. 54 realizes, okay, 54 is not my target. So now I got to transition myself to block Odafe Oweh. And 52 realizes I'm not needed on this side. Let me wait and see what's going on over here. So now it's going to be this tackle's job to just block one-on-one Odafe Oweh and not allow him to win around the edge, not allow him to get hip to hip, and not allow him to win high side, as we went over before. But Oweh does a really good job doing so, and we'll break that down, the specifics, right here. So he explodes off the line of scrimmage. Good first couple steps. Initial contact right there with the long arm. You can see, we say a lot, Big Blue View, one arm is longer than 2 arms, and this is what we mean. You can see how this tackle can't gain great access to Odafe Oweh's chest because the initial contact made with the inside arm of Odafe Oweh. Now, if this shoulder was square and he attacked with 2 arms, this tackle can acquire Oweh's chest pretty simply because 1 arm is longer than 2. And that's what we mean when we say that. But you can see how Oweh is exploding up the arc with good athletic ability, good leverage, and he's already making initial contact right here while the tackle is moving up the arc and his feet are pretty narrow, close together. And it's not going to be well with him once Oweh just unleashes this club on the outside wrist, clubs the outside wrist, which breaks the contact, and then also this tackle needs to keep his feet active, keep moving up the arc. Oweh's already doing that, and then when he breaks that contact right there with that outside arm club, he brings that inside arm kind of right up and through, and then employs a rip move. And you could see the tackle is in no position to handle that. And he just bends through the limited contact that he sees, shows pretty solid ankle flexion, gets the sack on Teddy Bridgewater. Watch it one more time. I just like the thing from Wink Martindale that I like is the double twist to this side, just because it is something a little bit different. And also, you're not using Calais Campbell as the penetrator. You're using Chris Board to get inside. You can see how Calais Campbell uses patience when he explodes up into the center, right? Kind of stops chopping his feet, lets Chris Board get in there. This guard plays it pretty well and picks up Calais Campbell. Then on this side, Patrick Queen just flies in here wildly. And he doesn't make great contact on 72. And 72 definitely holds Justin Houston there. But this is just another creative way for Wink Martindale to get pressure. Sack. And those are some of the sacks from the 2021 season from Wink Martindale when he was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm hoping some of these exotic pressure looks really translate well with Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, and the rest of the crew over there on the defensive side of the football. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am Nick Filato. Please head on over to BigBlueView.com for all your up-to-date content on the New York Football Giants. Take care of each other and be well.